the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vance, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a new river thing. Virginia Tech fire, rapid pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark. He's got the scoop, faster than a sprint. Calling plays like a coach, every word's a hint. From the courts to the fields, the stories unfold. Rick's play-by-play, worth its weight in gold. With a laugh and a growl, he'll pull you in. Big Dog's podcast, let the games begin. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the bark.
Tuesday. Hope you're well. Hit us up on our Professional Door Incorporated text line 391-0788, or here on the in the McClellan Chiropractic chat room. Coming up, Marvin in Miami joins us. That'll be at 6:45-ish. Ryan Siegel from the Boundary Corner podcast. There we go. And then Mike Burnham will join us as well, as we'll get you queued up and ready to go for the spring game coming up on Saturday. Your thoughts? How's everybody doing? Everybody doing good? Tuesday. It'll be a long end of the week for yours truly. But that's okay. It's what we do. It's what we do. So all of our great guests coming up, and as always, we want to hear from you, our listening audience. Good to have everybody here. Please subscribe, like, and share the channel wherever you might be. We would love to hear from you. Test. Okay, that doesn't really do anything, does it? Okay. Making sure we're good to go here. All right. Okay. So yesterday, the assembled media in Blacksburg able to get some information. I wanted to get your thoughts, some financial information. And now I can't get anything to work, but which is strange, but that's okay. Don't you love it when you have everything bookmarked and then everything just kind of stops working? There we go. So Virginia Tech came forward with some information. Jay Pearson spoke, Whit Babcock spoke. And I think there's some mixed messaging going on. I wanted to get your thoughts, Tech fan. Some of these numbers that came forward. I don't know if anybody, I had a lot of people on our professional door text line. Did anybody ask Whit about leaving? I don't think so. I didn't see that. But anyway, it was an awareness meeting of where Tech is financially. I'm not sure exactly how this should make you feel if you're a Tech fan, good or bad or indifferent, or if it's just a casual update. But Babcock made some weird comments about James Franklin. It was a little strange, But I want to get your thoughts on it. We'll go over some of the highlights of it, and we'll see what all you have to say about Tech and their fundraising. Are they in a position to keep up? Are they in a position to keep basketball prominent? And we're talking men's basketball. I'm not sure anything was really answered in what was reported. I told you months ago that the biggest part of that money that had been the new budget, that, what was it, 229 million, whatever it was, that most of that was already spent. And it kind of came across yesterday in some of the comments that they didn't say that, but it kind of felt that way. But we'll get into it, and we'll get your thoughts on all that. Lots of criticism directed at CBS for their coverage of the Masters. Now, I did not watch enough of it to be able to comment on it, but apparently they missed something big on the last hole shot or something. Too many crowd reactions. I don't know. You tell me if you watched it. Did you notice the big difference in the Masters coverage? Since I didn't watch it, I'm not going to sit here and make a comment on it, but I did read a lot of people complaining yesterday on X in the aftermath of it. From your grandma and grandpa's cherished memories, wouldn't you trade a bunch of tomorrows to have one more day with them to store as a lifelong treasure? Reminiscing in Palm Coast, BDST is live. Absolutely. I would give everything I own to have one more day talking to my mom. Yes, 100%. I get what you're saying, Morris. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, no surprise at all, Vic, on Caleb Wilson. I mean, that was a done deal. The only reason he went to college is because he had to. That's the only reason. The only reason that he went to college. Yeah, if you're looking for a program to talk about the WNBA draft, then you better search for a new program. If a tree falls in the woods and no one's there to hear it, did it happen? What's up, Steven? Good morning. Are the Yellow Jackets number 2? UCLA number 1. UCLA's won 24 in a row. Wow. The Tech spring game will not be televised. Good morning, Prometheus. What's going on? How are you? will not be televised. People seem anxious. All right, so let's get into some of this. And I want to get your thoughts because I have not a dog in the fight about Tech's finances. All right, so Jay Pearson led off the first presentation by the athletics committee yesterday, saying that the gathering is an awareness meeting, not an action meeting. Whit Babcock got up there and went through his roster of lieutenants, confirmed John Boleyn will be out in June. Too much rejoicing from Tech fan everywhere. Babcock started talking about Tech's history of ACC championships, comparing them to the other schools. He mentioned the 4 in football, but that's been too long. And then he made some weird comments about, I don't know the context of this, is looking at some of the reaction. I'm going off of Andy Bitter's tweets. You may have heard we hired this guy named James Franklin. He's currently our favorite coach because he's undefeated. Babcock says season ticket sales are 4.3% ahead of where they were last August. I guess that's good. I don't know. I guess I kind of figured it would be a higher number, but I guess overall that's pretty good. Donations are up 25%. Excitement around the changes in the football program were given as the main reason. That makes sense, right? Drive year goes from March to March. 52.9 million in DY. Drive year 26 is the highest that it's been. So that's good news. What else stands out? Jay Pearson interjects about the partnership between the university and athletics regarding the investments being made. And here's what I thought was interesting. And this is where, is this an admission that they're falling behind and they didn't want to come out and say it that way? Jay Pearson said, speed is of the essence, that's for sure. I just heard from a coach recently about, and I hate NIL, God, change it. It's pay for play budget. And now we're falling. Well, here we go. The coach said, and now we're falling behind on that again. Emphasize speed. We have to move quick because everything else is moving quick in this industry. So what you're going to have when you read something like that, no matter all the money that's been put in, I thought these were strange comments coming out of Tech yesterday. So you have this brand new budget that you were so proud of, stuck your chest out, 200 and whatever it was million. You just announced that the donations are 52 plus. It's the highest it's been. But yet your closing statement is, we have to move quick. Everything else is quick in this industry, and coaches are saying, hey, we're falling behind. Speed is of the essence. Well, and what this outlines, and we're going to use Tech as the example, this is why this is not sustainable, and this is why all this is just insanity. With as much money has been filtered into the Tech athletic department since we started this program in August. I guess that was announced, in November officially? No matter how much money was guaranteed by the board of directors that was added, and now you have this 52 million, which they're lauding. They're still saying we can't get caught up. By the time you get that money, at least I'm just reading between the lines. By the time you get that money, and I'm not singling out Tech. I think this is true everywhere. This is why this is just what we're doing is idiotic. in athletics, college athletics. But as soon as you get that and you think you're in a good space, now Jay Pearson's saying we're already behind again. And it hasn't even been, what is it? What is that, 6 months? So if that doesn't tell you how ridiculous this whole thing is about paying these players what they're being paid, I don't know what does. Basically, reading between the lines, and we'll ask Mike Burnip about this, and we'll ask Brian Siegel about this. To me, it feels like they're still saying they're behind, and that the speed of cost is outdistancing the money that's been raised. So when he says he heard from a coach about their budget, I'm guessing that's probably Mike Young, because the comment was, well, now we're falling behind on that again. We have to move quick because everything else is moving quick in this industry. Where can you go, Virginia Tech? Look at what your fans, look at what your donors are providing. That's the highest year from March to March. You announced that. What else can they do? I mean, what else can they do? How much more money? And this goes back to what we've been talking about a long time. How much more can you give? So you got the money. You had just announced the highest year-to-year donation pool that you've had. Yet you're still kind of indicating you're behind, because even though you've moved pretty quickly, it seems like you've moved quickly from where you were, that now you're behind the 8 ball again. You have coaches telling you you're behind the 8 ball again. So what are we doing? And Morris, I think you said this then, and you were right. He says that was always my biggest fear when Babcock announced the big push and the new money. That only caught them up to the top, didn't surpass him. In other words, it got them on a even playing field at the time, but apparently that turf's been moved again. So I don't know. To me, it was a mixed message. I thought it was going to be more of a fist pump and a well done, and here we are now. But that's not what I got out of it. We'll see if other people interpreted it differently. How I interpret it may not be how other people look at it. So again, that's what we invite on this program: open-mindedness. Steeler Hokey, what's up, man? Good morning. Welcome to chat. Please subscribe, like, and share the channel. Hubert Davis makes the NCAA tournament. Mike Young doesn't even accept one. And Tech gives him another contract. Did they announce that? Did I miss that? Hey, there's our legal counsel. Where were you yesterday, Richie? I was asking lots of golf questions of you, and you just ignored me. We were talking lots of golf yesterday. You'd have been proud. So was the coverage not good? I saw a lot of that yesterday, a whole lot of it. I mean, it was universally panned by lots of people who don't spend their time trying to pan things. They just wanted to sit down and enjoy it. But apparently CBS missed something on the very last hole, a shot, or too many stupid crowd reactions is what I saw. Yeah, I don't want to see the gallery's reaction. I want to see the players. I want to see the drama unfold. Right? Morris says, so now we're not sucking I tit. We're sucking the third behind the front. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I read those comments. What do you think? Did I just interpret them wrong? Here's the comment from Jay Pearson. I just heard from a coach about NIL, pay for play. He says, well, now we are falling behind on that again. We have to move quick. Then he said on his own, because everything else is moving quickly in this industry, then it's time to readjust the industry, because your business partners cannot keep up. The people that are supposed to build this industry and continue it, which is all those institutions, they cannot keep up. This seems like to me an admission that there's no chance Virginia Tech or anybody else, no matter what kind of posturing they take, is going to be able to keep up with this locomotive that is these unbelievably disgusting salaries that athletes are being paid. And I'm going to say it because I have been a proponent over the years. No athlete going to any school deserves $3, $4, or $5 million. None. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I know. I didn't watch. I said I didn't watch. Yeah, I didn't watch it. Was it brown, Richie? Everybody said the greens were brown. Were they brown? Was it dry there? Was it unseasonably dry? Did the water dude forget to sprinkle on the greens? And by the way, hey, golf people. So where do you fall on this? Is this a moral thing, an immoral thing? Now, McIlroy and the Masters getting a lot of criticism because he did not play on the tour for 2 months. He did not play on the tour for 2 months, and all he did was play at Augusta to prepare for the Masters. Is that an unfair advantage? Is that okay? I don't know. I'm not a golfer. I don't know the etiquette, and there's some strange golfing etiquette out there. That's being heavily criticized in the aftermath. I think he even addressed it during his post green jacket ceremony, the late presser. Did that take some of the oomph out of his back-to-back wins? I mean, I don't know. I'm asking the question. The broadcast was on a 7-minute delay? Really? You're there to broadcast it live. Why was it on a really? What was CBS's explanation about it being on a 7-second delay, a 7-minute delay? So in other words, Rory's already in the clubhouse celebrating, and you're watching his approach walking up to the 18th green on TV. Is that what you mean? Really? Wow. Nicolas Abdalas is now a North Carolina Tar Heel, by the way. He committed yesterday to Michael Malone. And you got to love it. It's so perfect. Look at the color of the jersey. They've got him in there committing to North Carolina, that patented Virginia Tech black jersey. DeChambeau's 5-iron made by a 3D printer did not help him make the cut at the Masters. Made by a 3D printer, really? What the hell's that about? That world frightens and confuses me. Why? I want to know why the Masters was on a 7-minute delay on CBS. Did they announce that ahead of time, or did we find out after? Along with the shoddy direction, apparently, in camera work on the 18th. If you win it, you can go practice more. So go win it, I guess. See, I don't know. I don't know the etiquette. Let's relate that to a team sport, right? Leading up to the Super Bowl, the national championship game, you can say, yeah, we've been practicing in the stadium we're going to play in for about 3 weeks now. We had nothing else to do, so you let us in the stadium. Would that give you an advantage? I mean, I don't know. But bad coverage on TV. Apparently now 7-minute delayed coverage. Brown greens. And your winner having an unfair advantage. That's right. A tradition like none other, or unlike any other, the Masters. Look, the whole thing got off to a crappy start with the whole Travis Kelce ESPN nonsense. Or not Travis, but whatever the hell the other name of the Kelce. Jason, whatever his name is. I don't think they ever recovered from the weekend, to be honest with you. Supposed to be this hallowed ground, this separate entity of the sport, and it just finally got modernized, apparently. And, of course, all it took was their first year of partnership with that network. Wayne says, UNC fans think Neo is the answer. They are anointing Malone as the next great Carolina coach. Well, ask Marva. Though Tech fan knows what we saw in typical fashion. He will thrive there. Maybe. We'll see. You could be right. You could be right. And I want to know your thoughts on this whole money situation and comments. We'll ask Brian Siegel and see what he thought. I don't know. It's great that from year to year they have more money raised, but it doesn't feel like they feel confident going forward about doing business. That's what I got out of it, but I might be wrong. I didn't see a lot of attaboys being held out yesterday because of the so I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see. Who would have been my choice from North Carolina? I think they were on the right track for some of the guys that they had pursued. Dusty May's name came up a lot early. I thought, to be honest, for me, I thought that that's a good question. Probably for me, sorry, I'm answering somebody here on our text line. Vic, probably Tommy Lloyd would have come across to me as that guy. But who knows? I mean, Michael Malone maybe end up being a good hire. I don't know. Prometheus says they keep asking for money, but I haven't seen many, if any, fundraising like they mentioned. Brian says Neo definitely wasn't a lottery pick, but I think he probably just hit the lottery. Yeah, who knows what they paid him, right? Tech wins on the field, money will come. It only comes down to performance if they want donations. But how much more money can come? That's my point. Let's say they have a good football year, which I think they could have. They could surpass what everybody's expectation might be. But if you already have the highest ever March to March donations at $52 million, how much more can you expect to get? And that's a good point, Southwest Virginia. College sports are on the way to pricing out the average fan, just as pro sports have done. And many of us will lose interest, just like with the pros. I think that's very accurate. It's going to be hard to maintain your dedication on college football Saturdays, knowing if this keeps going, if this model keeps going. If all the Trump stuff completely gets shelved and there's nobody in the NCAA that can enforce anything, then I don't see people staying involved. No, I don't. I think you're going to start seeing empty stadiums across the country. I think I don't know when that might happen, but if this thing continues on for the next couple of years and these athlete salaries of just nonsensical pay-for-play contracts that are being given out continue to escalate, You, the fan, me, the fan, are going to be asked to pay more money if we decide to go to watch. Your subscription services are going to skyrocket when the new TV deals are cut, which are coming up with the new expansion in a couple of years. Everything's going to go so astronomically high. You're going to have to ask yourself, do I really need to do this anymore? But we'll see what happens with the money going forward. I mean, does winning an ACC championship in football automatically mean that you're going to double your donations? They didn't really get into, at least Andy didn't report that they're getting into what was needed, what they expected. I mean, I don't know the answers, but we'll see. All that comes with winning. Maybe. A lot of assumptions there that winning is going to make sure money comes in, and that's not always the case. And how do you win as much as you need to if you're saying already that you're already falling behind again? Morris says, no public college other than maybe UNC, Texas, Florida, and a few others can sustain this madness. Correct. Tech, for example, going to do what? Come back this year and ask donors for another $225 million? Exactly. If you fall short, and let's say you are better in football and you get 8 or 9 wins, but you don't win the ACC, you go to some half-hearted bowl, you're going to praise that and build that up as a great year one for James Franklin. How much more money can you expect? How much more money is going to be needed? Or are you going to use that to say, oh, hey, if you want us to get here, just give us $100 more million? How much? And I've asked this question for a long time on this show. How much can people be expected to give? It's easy to say corporately more will be given, but corporate money is not just going to be spent flippantly to keep adding to what seemingly is an endless pot of need. Corporate money has other things that it needs to be attended to other than giving to an athletics department that seemingly, because the higher ups that run the entire thing at the highest level have no plan going forward. Everybody's assuming that if you get 9 wins in football, whatever, I don't know what winning, the definition of winning enough would be to all of a sudden. I mean, do you think winning, I guess my question is, do you really believe that winning alone will help Tech get to that level? Whatever level that is, because it wasn't really defined. It was just indicated yesterday that Tech's already falling behind again because things are, quote, moving really fast. And I also take the other stance on this because I'm not sure. We said this a lot too. I was told by someone over there, I'm sure somebody who was in the press conference yesterday or at the press conference, that this is all just a money laundering scheme. How much of what we're told, how much of all of this is actually legitimate numbers? I don't know the answer. Tebow says, you pay for it in ticket sales. That comes with winning. Well, Tech sells out, right? I mean, their fans have been great. I'm not inclined to shell out hundreds of dollars to attend a game to pay the salaries of millionaire teenagers, many of whom will jump ship at the first opportunity. Correct. So what are you supporting when you used to have that? You're supporting the young people. You're supporting the student athletes. Well, they don't even call them student athletes anymore. But you're looking now to help pay the salary. That's more money than, well, that I know that I'll ever make in my lifetime. The ridiculousness of how this has just been so accepted to shell out $4, $5, $6 million to an college athlete, as if it's just, and they all have agents now. You're going to call and talk to me? Talk to my agent. Vic, I'm not sure that athletic directors are going to have much of a choice. I think you're going to see a lot of programs be completely eliminated. Yes. But I knew that, yesterday, Andy, because Andy talked about it, Damien had talked about it, having the opportunity to sit down and get the financial report. And I thought it'd be a lot more positive than what came across. But then again, that's just my take. We'll see. It's hard, Wayne says, to invest in players for hire. I guess in 10 years, fans will be used to it. But we grew up watching players develop and become school legends. I don't know if fans will get used to paying athletes what they're paying. Maybe you might be right. Maybe the newer generations, the younger generations, this is all what they're growing up with, and they become young business people, young professionals, and maybe to them this is just going to be the new norm. But, I showed you that graphic last week about Penn State, which is a blue blood that made $57 million in profit from football, yet still, as a whole, only finished the fiscal year last year at $200 and some thousand in the black. I've heard women's basketball players are leaving some of the top programs and asking for 7 figures. Women's basketball players. There's not one women's basketball program that makes any money for its institution. UCLA just won the national title. And I saw some quotes out there yesterday that program lost over $1.5 million last year. And now these players are asking for 7 figures on the women's basketball side. And I always just sit back and I just don't understand how all this evolved to this point. And then I realized the answer. It's just the acceptance of irresponsibility. Right? Powerless when you know you're powerless to stop what you could have stopped and you watch it come. Right? Crazy. It's crazy. I thought, stadiums will hold over 100,000. Tech holds about 66. That's 43,000 fans buying more stuff. And they still can't profit. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, and Tebow, you're right, but I don't know what that next level looks like. What number do they have to settle at? Is that always going to be used as the crutch? I mean, a lot of programs are doing more with less. I hear a lot of programs that aren't constantly complaining about the money. How much? And that's my question. Oh, Vic, there has to be a salary cap. Yeah, absolutely. How much more money? I mean, Tech's just had a record-setting contribution. The big donor, the big ask from the Board of Visitors. Yes. You just had the highest year-to-year ever in donations. how can you go there with a straight face now and say we still don't have enough money? How much more is capable? I don't know the answers. Those questions apparently either didn't get asked or didn't get answered yesterday. But Wake Forest has no money. They won 9 games. They beat a good SEC team in a bowl game. They hired a coach that nobody knew anything about. And to be honest, he should have won Coach of the Year. So how much of it is always money and how much of it is having the right people to say, okay, here's your budget. This is all we can do. We'll do the best we can. And you go out there and try to put together the best product that you can, given what makes sense to that athletic department. I think the answer is getting me back on Chicken Hill pregame. That won't happen. Apparently, I don't think the station's even out there, by the way, on Saturday. It says all you need to know. Prometheus says Tech will never be at the top when it comes to money. They will have to continue to do more with less like Frank did. That's a great point. I just think what we've done or what is being proposed out there, and we'll ask Marva, like, it all comes back to, well, you don't have enough money. Or too many times. And I'm not saying Tech is doing this. I'm just saying that you hear it a lot from other schools. Well, how, Tech kind of said it yesterday. It's going fast. We're falling behind. If you have the right people, if you have the right coaches, if you have a staff, if you have the right type of going out and assessing talent, and getting people to buy into what you can do for them. Is it always the highest bidder? No. Texas Tech bragged they spent the most money of anybody in the nation last year. They put it out there. They released it on their own social media. Over $40 million they spent on their roster. Did that get them a natty? No, it sure didn't. My opinion, this will blow and be corrected within 2 years. I hope you're right, Morris. Yeah, it is. It's completely unsustainable. Change is definitely coming. Yeah. It has to. I've never heard of anything like this that continues. I watch a lot of documentaries, Marv will be here momentarily. These major companies that have to file for bankruptcy just to, kind of restructure, and then they build themselves back up. They have a lot of money coming in, a lot of money invested, but they still can't run their business the way they were. They needed protection. Are we going to start seeing that from athletic departments? I don't know. But it's just, I don't know. When and where does it end? People are asking me that on our professional door text line. I don't know. I don't have the answers. Maybe Marv is smart. Maybe Marvin has all the answers. Marvin,
answers to the money issue?
Yeah, we're talking about this, and Tech put out their, update about where they were, and then they put all these numbers out there, and then at the end they were like, "Well, things are moving fast, and we're falling behind again." It's like, how much, Marva? Now, North Carolina, you've got one of the most fluid and comfortable departments. Let's just say it.
A lot of money's flowing there.
Money flowing there. So you don't hear Carolina, at least. Now, I don't follow it closely. You're a grad, and you do. Do they go on these type of things and say these type? I never have heard Carolina
ask for money.
Well, no, like have these little pressers where they're saying, "We've got all this money, but we're still falling behind." I don't hear Carolina ever saying that.
I haven't heard the school say that officially. I mean, occasionally you hear fans talking about it, but I haven't heard the school come out and make an announcement we're falling behind. Because, I mean, Carolina has some big money donors, and we all see what happened with Hubert Davis. The donor said, if you bring him back, we're going to close up our wallets. And so he wasn't brought back.
He's gone.
So, yeah. So I have not heard that, but it's just a rough time right now for a lot of schools trying to figure out, how do we come up with this money to get what we need. And it's just more pronounced now in the days of NIL. But if we're honest about it, this has always been an issue. There have always been schools that have more money than others. And, whether it was providing these funds in a, above board way or under the table, there's always been schools that had the cash and that were spending it to, entice people to come to their campuses.
Yes. The Alabama Mafia stands out. Yes, it does, for one. But I don't hear Carolina. I don't know. I
haven't heard anybody saying that. I mean, look at Mike Malone's contract. I mean, he's getting paid, Belichick's getting paid.
Yeah. And they're not winning.
No, not win. So it doesn't guarantee wins. I mean, we saw with Bill Belichick. As we talked about last week, I remain hopeful. Like, this coming season has to be better. It can't, like I said, I cannot imagine any world in which it is worse. But I think it can't just be just a little bit better either. I think it needs to be substantially better because there are already a lot of grumbling about, we brought this guy in, he's getting paid all this money, and what is he doing? Talk. So I think Carolina has to see a substantial turnaround from next year, or people are going to be grumbling again. Let's, make another move. So I just hope it's better, because it's really depressing when you go into games and you realize my team has little to no chance of winning this. And, I'm a big fan. I watch the games, but at some point, even I was like, oh my goodness, do I have to watch this? And I'm watching because I know I'm going to come in here and talk about it. But it was bad last year. So especially anytime Carolina played a top team, it was bad. And it was bad even when teams where you think were maybe a mid-tier, oh, that's not the best team you're going to face all year. It was still bad. So deep breath here, Rick. I have to hope. Again,
I know. Well, the SEC, we're told, presented, all those schools have all the money they ever want, yet they didn't do well in the football postseason. It's not like they were blowing people away in the playoff. They had an embarrassing record, to be honest with you, in the postseason, right?
And we also heard about them, how much money they were pumping into basketball.
Yeah.
Especially last year. Everybody was talking about that. They are really getting behind basketball now. And they, underperformed also, I would say. And I think they would agree with that in basketball as well. So, again, it's not just the money, but money sure helps.
Yeah, it helps. It does help. But I don't know. Morris thinks in 2 years we'll get a correction. Maybe he's right. How long can it happen? How long can it continue, right? How long can you keep giving athletes these kind of ridiculous salaries in sports that lose money?
Everybody's talking about the athlete salaries, and that's a thing. But we all have to also look at this, I would say it's kind of ridiculous money, isn't it? That we're paying. When I say we, these schools collectively are
coaches
paying
too.
Their coaches.
Yes.
Because in pretty much every state, the top state employee is a basketball coach
or football coach.
Football coach. Usually it's a football coach.
Right.
That's the top paid state employee. Your basketball coach is, above your governor, your basketball coach. These people you think are supposed to be so important in your state government, it's the basketball coach or the football coach. It's usually the football coach, actually. Like, is that right? I mean, think about that. Is it
right?
Really?
Exactly.
But people who love it, they're going to say, yeah, because for some people, that is the most important thing, is my team winning. And, if I had unlimited funds, I mean, would I be supporting UNC athletics? Like, if I had, big money like you do, Rick, yeah, I'd be throwing them some coins,
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Because you're so competitive and you want to see them bring in the best people, the best assistants, all of the football, they're having the best trainers, they're having the best facilities, because that recruits are looking at these, even with the money they're getting, they're still looking at that. And I know you travel around the schools, and there can be some wide discrepancies in
Yes.
what the locker rooms look like and what the weight rooms look like. And they see these things. So yeah, if I had that type of money, I would be, again, I don't have Rick Watson money, so I can't do that.
Rick Watson money. Is that a thing? Rick Watson money? Wow.
We know it's a thing.
I don't see any. Around. But do you think this is too, like, are schools by and large, no matter which school it is, are they just kind of taking advantage of fans? Are they assuming fans are either stupid or they're just tapping into they're always going to come back to us, just like the pro leagues do when they strike or when they do all this? Well, they're going to come back. The fans can't help themselves. Is this what the universities are? Is this part of their strategy now to tap into that vulnerability of fans?
I don't know. I mean, I hate to be cynical about it and think they're going to come back no matter what. But you look at certain situations, and it does kind of think it makes you wonder, what are they thinking? I think coming up with the UNC example, where there's been talk about, should the basketball stadium stay? Should they stay with the Dean Dome there on campus where a lot of students walk to? Or should they move it off campus and they can get in more of these luxury boxes? They don't have luxury boxes. Now get these luxury boxes in.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are against that. A lot of people who went to the school even are against it. The people who are for it seem to be the big money people, because then they can get a fancy suite to get in. And then
sure.
But it prices out, though, a lot of the diehard fans who would love to be there and would be nice and loud. And it's going to be inconvenient for students. I still think students would go, but it's just not the same experience. Like when I was at Carolina, I actually lived on campus all 4 years, and wherever I lived, I could easily walk there. It was nice. And I think on-campus stadiums are nice. And they took this off the table after, bringing in Mike Malone, because that was too much change. Let's not, put Mike Malone in this situation right now. But it's just, that shows the example that a lot of people, that's not who they're thinking about anymore. They're thinking about, but this is kind of how our society works, right? I mean, the money talks, right? Unfortunately. And so we see this happening. And I hate it for schools that feel like they're going to be left behind. But at the same time, I have to be honest about it. There are always schools left behind, even before this stuff came into play.
Yeah.
Some
Absolutely.
people just can't compete with the bigger schools that have the people who are just willing to write huge checks. And when you write a huge check, you expect to get certain things in return.
Is that the only complaint about the Dean Dome, is the luxury boxes? Because I've been there. We've called several games there. I think that place is awesome. Like, it looks great.
It's a lovely place. Like, I know I'm a bit biased, but it's still it's a great place to go watch a game.
Yeah.
But that's it. They're not, because you don't have those luxury boxes, you can't make extra revenue off of that. So it's not even about adding seats, because I mean, it's already got a lot of seats.
Yes, it does.
I don't know, yeah, it's got a lot of seats. I think the new plan would even take away some seats, but it would add this, luxury experience.
It seems like that's the way to go, instead of just building a whole new arena and spending however many hundreds of millions of dollars that would take, right?
I am in that camp. I'm in favor of renovation. And, there's some places they can maneuver with on campus to have them, temporarily. It might be a season. You're playing somewhere else. And then the other thing is, they're like seats that people get and they keep year after year after year. And I believe that some of those would be lost. And so it's a hard situation, but I prefer, and not just for you, it's lovely when you have it right there on campus. I mean, I've been to see basketball games other places, and it's just fun. It just makes it's a campus experience, it's a little bit different. But, even like with football, like, the University of Miami, they play in the same stadium as the Dolphins.
Yeah.
And so it's not on UM's campus. And people who go to those games, they have to drive a good way. And of course they still go, but it's a totally different experience, and that's not really your place. I mean, you play, it's really the Dolphins' place. That's just, it's just different.
Well, like I said, I was told by someone over in Blacksburg that it's a money laundering scheme. And he said one of the reasons is you never hear about how much money they have to have. They just keep on asking for more and more and more. Come on. We don't have a number. We don't have a goal, but let's just
more.
Just
What are
more.
they
We need
asking
more.
for? But when they make that appeal, like to Tech fans, what are they saying we need it for? Do they go into detail or just to keep our sports programs competitive?
The only comment we had from Jay Pearson, who's the guy now over there, I guess, probably even more so than the AD, he just said that things are moving so quickly and we're falling behind. Speed is of the essence. So he's indicating that despite all this great input they've had financially the last 6 months, we're in trouble. It's almost like a warning shot going out.
In trouble how? Like, are in trouble that the roster's not going to be what you need it
Yeah,
to be?
they quoted a coach. Yeah, they did. They quoted one coach that said, "Hey, we've already fallen behind again with our player budget." So,
I mean, could it be that they're putting too much on the table? Like, it's disappointing when a school does spend a lot. And I'm saying the school, but a lot of this is coming from boosters spend a lot, and then you don't have things pan out. You have to get creative, I think, these days. I think the best coaches have to be very creative, and they have to make sure that the scouting is. I mean, I think people are scouting like never before. I mean, you are.
oh yeah.
You are having to find these gems. They're incredible players at some of these smaller schools. And now when you can have this money and they're playing somewhere where maybe they get on TV once a year if they're lucky, and you have a chance to, I'm talking about national television, you have a chance to say, well, we're gonna play, we play pretty much all our games, or getting these players and getting players from overseas. I know it doesn't come into play with football, but with basketball, it's a new day. It's a totally new day, and you have to adapt or get left behind. But I think this constant asking for money, you have to see, where do you end up? Because I think if your team gets on a roll and is really doing well, then people are gonna be like, well, we want to stay here. But if you haven't seen success in a while, you might become a bit jaded and like, oh, I don't know.
It's like, where's the responsibility of the people that are hired? Where's the responsibility of the athletic directors? Where's the responsibility of these coaches that we've already talked about, they're being paid in some cases
huge salaries,
$10 to $15 million. Where's the responsibility for them to actually put a good product on the field, as opposed to it's always being the crutch of, hey, we just don't have enough money. I mean, this guy's making $10 million a year to coach the team. Our AD's making 3 times as much as anybody else in the athletic department and administratively, but hey, that's not their fault. We just need more money.
But
right?
I think also some of it has to come back to just kind of the old-fashioned things. You got to be willing to work with people and develop them. And, we're seeing that now. Some people, it seems like the coaches want the ready-made players. And there are going to be a few of those, right? There's a few of those that are just like superior, athletic skill. And it doesn't really matter too much where they even go. They're going to be a success.
Caleb Wilson. Caleb Wilson was an NBA guy as soon as exactly.
Yeah. But I think it's better, or it's more, to me, more fulfilling to watch when you see someone who was, they're okay. And then they turn into really good player because they've been, of course, putting in the work themselves, but also a coaching staff has been working with them. And I don't know if are schools even going to be patient though with that now? Are they going to say you can do this? They're going to say, oh, you didn't get it done. And I think everybody's feeling pressure. ADs are feeling pressure. Coaches are feeling pressure. And so they may feel like we don't have time to truly develop a player like they might have done in the past. We got to get as many of these, ready-made guys as we can. And that's especially hard on football because the rosters are so big. I know. I think you want to have a nice mix though, right? You want to have some of these top talents with some guys you can bring along, and maybe even be allowed to bring somebody along slowly, because now everybody wants it now, or we're just going to go in a different direction.
Right. No, 100%. 100%. All right. So you have a now direct Virginia Tech connection with your new basketball coach, Michael Malone. Nicolas Abdallah signs yesterday. You lose the number one high school guard in the country. He's reopened his
Well, Rick, I had a question about that because yesterday I was reading about that. Carolina lost this guy. And then today I was reading things that said Carolina decided they wanted to go in a different direction. And so I'm wondering, well, what's really the truth here? I don't know, but I just thought that was interesting because yesterday I was like, Carolina lost this guy. He decided. So I just thought, well, maybe he felt a certain connection with Hubert Davis and Hubert Davis isn't there
money.
anymore.
It's money.
Well, I mean, it could be money, but it was just so the way all the stories I read yesterday, Carolina lost this guy. He decided to go open back his recruitment. He's going elsewhere. But then this morning I'm reading, more stories about it. And it's like Carolina decided they wanted to go in a different direction. So I don't know what the truth is. I do know that Carolina's trying really hard to keep Henry Vessar. And I think that Carolina's going to be able to keep him because his stock has gone down in terms of what he might be able to do in the draft. And so I feel pretty good about the front court. I'm not really sure what's going on with the back court right now. So Carolina was able to keep another commitment. He came back out and said, yes, he's staying with UNC. I don't know what's happening, but it's just one of those things where a lot of stuff is happening. A lot of stuff is happening behind the scenes. And so I after watching Mike Malone's press conference, because I think when we talked last week, he had his press conference, I believe, that night. And so I actually had to listen to it. I was doing a radio thing because I had to take my daughter somewhere. So I was in the car listening. And I really liked what I was hearing. I liked what he was saying. And I liked the fact that so many people coalesced behind him. So many former players endorsed him, including some people who had played for him during his tenure in the NBA. And he just seemed to be on the right track. So kind of last week we were talking, it's just I didn't know that much about him. I mean, I knew about his connection with his daughter who played volleyball at UNC, or plays, actually, she's a sophomore. And he just, I don't know. I feel much better about it. Some people were like, oh, we'll never win again. I mean, people are just so dramatic.
No, Carolina's no. Carolina's
I don't know. It's just fun for me to watch. But yeah, I feel pretty good that he is talking about things the right way and that he is going to, make some good moves. So I feel much better about it. I mean, I didn't feel bad about it, but I just felt like I didn't know as much. But just learning more about him and the support that he has. And I'm feeling pretty good about him.
Well, I think I saw some people, I think it's what you said. I think it's the latter. I think Malone he's going to come across as being more of a portal guy because he's coming from a pro background. So I think he's going to look at some of these high school guys going, why are we paying him that? We can go get a guy like Abdallah or somebody else out of the portal I know can play this game at this level. Those are going to want to be the guys that I want to coach my first team here. So maybe it kind of feels like to me, Carolina told the kids' handlers, we're not giving you the 7 figures we were going to give you. We're going to take that money and go. I think that's probably what happened there.
Yeah, maybe that is what happened. And, we've seen some coaches make this decision. I remember during the tournament, I saw an interview with Rick Pitino where he said he's just not interested in high school players.
I know. He came right out and said it. Yeah.
I mean, that kind of blew me away. He's not that in, but I mean, I see why, because you got a known quantity when you're dealing with transfer players, more so than high school, right? Because you've seen what they can do the college level already. And it makes a different, for a different experience. And I kind of hate it for kids coming out of high school. But I know, obviously the very best players coming out of high school, they're going to find a place to go. We don't have to worry about the Caleb Wilsons of the world. They'll find a place to go.
Right.
But the guys who
the fringe guys,
they may not be able to go to the big school they dreamed of. They may have to go to a smaller school, but then they go there and they prove themselves, and someone will pick them up
exactly
out of the transfer portal.
Yeah, after 1 year, hey. Let's go get my millions.
Let's go get prove it. What is it? Prove it a year or whatever. So it's just different. It's a different world. I mean, we have to and schools just have to kind of deal with it, figure out what to do. So I kind of hated it when I read that Rick Pitino comment, but then again, it made a lot of sense.
Ryan Pry, the attorney, says Michigan winning, much like Indiana in football with teams full of transfers, didn't help inspire other schools to be patient too.
It did not. Yeah. Because everybody talked about that, with Michigan, they have a team, all their starters are transfers.
Every one of them.
There's nobody who's been there from their, freshman year. to talk about. So,
but Indiana football now, those were not expensive transfers. That wasn't money. That was just the
Mm-hmm.
following their coach, most of those guys. So
yeah. And he did an incredible job with those guys. And I think a lot of people, I hope, will be inspired by him and, give somebody a chance. You don't have to go out and,
he's got money now.
Yeah, he's got money now.
Mark Cuban gave him $30 million just to go buy players. He said as much. Here you go. Go get who you need.
Yeah.
Go get them.
See, that's what I mean. So if I had that, Mark Cuban, Rick Watson money, I might do the same. I might do the same.
The players after a month, that Rick Watson check bounced. What was going on there? You told me. I don't know. But Carolina, what I'm saying, Morris is right. Carolina has God money. Yeah, Carolina is never going to be one of those schools to go, we don't have money. I've never heard Carolina say that.
We got to pass the hat around, guys. It's not going to happen.
Well, we'll see. It's interesting. It's very interesting to see where it all goes. But yeah, I think Michael Malone will be just fine. I think he'll be just fine.
He seems like a good guy, and I'm glad that he has all that support behind him, because I think that matters. That's always been the case, at Carolina, that old former players will come back. A lot of times they would come back in the summertime and actually play pickup games with the new guys. And it's always been a thing. And so I'm glad to see that that's still the case, that they're supporting Mike Malone and that they're coming out. And again, that he said all the right things at the press conference.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
I feel good about that.
And he won't be scared of this economy. He won't be scared. It's like, hey, I'm in the NBA. I know exactly how it takes to run a franchise. We'll be fine.
He won't be scared. And I've also seen people talking about, like, with Jokic, how I just didn't remember this part, how, he didn't come into the NBA like he was heavily touted. People didn't see him as somebody who's going to be a multi-year, MVP.
No. Like Keon says, we missed his draft pick during a commercial break because he was a guy that fans by the way, here, let's review the last 5 picks, and the Denver Nuggets took somebody called Nikola Jokic.
So, I'm excited by that also, because it does show, he can work on development. And I'm just excited. I think it's going to be good. And I'm hoping that people will be patient with him. But he even said, he's like, I'm not coming here, and to lose in the first round. And he was also, though, very nice. He said some very nice things about Hubert Davis, how nice he was to let him come into practice, and how he was even taking notes in the practice just because he's like, I'm a coach. That's what I do. It wasn't like he was trying to come in and, I'm going to see if I can get this job. No, it's just, this is interesting because I love basketball. And so I want to see what they're doing here. And he said that some very nice things about him, and how his dad, is also a coach, and how his dad had really admired Dean Smith, and he grew up watching him, and it felt real. And again, I'm excited about him. I'm excited to see what he does. I love to see all the support that he's getting from former players.
You excited about the big Carolina spring football game coming up?
I honestly don't usually pay much attention to the spring football game because it's practice. Talk about, I don't.
That's right. It is. It's just practice.
I've never in my life been to a spring football game.
No.
But I like to hear the report afterwards, what happened. But
Yeah. I'm with you. All right, good stuff. How's the fam? How's the little
Everybody's
people?
doing great. Everybody's doing great. What did we just had? I think this was after the last time. We had Easter, and just briefly, because I know it's almost time to wrap up, but I always do Easter egg hunt with the kids.
Oh, how'd that go?
And no, I didn't do one this year because they didn't ask.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
I bought the stuff to do one, and they didn't ask. So I think maybe last year was our last one. But my son did have one. He had one at his school. He goes to private school. They had Easter egg hunt at his school, but they didn't ask for one at home. So I was sad. I bought all the candy. I bought all the baskets.
Did you color Easter eggs at least? Did you at least dye Easter eggs? Did you do that? No. Wow.
Now, so
they're growing up, Marva. They're growing up.
Now, it's not too late to have one, but usually it's always excitement beforehand. And there was none. So, we went to church like we always do, but we just didn't do that in the afternoon like we usually do. Like growing up.
Isn't your daughter almost a teenager?
Yeah, she's 12. So she probably thinks, maybe she's too old.
Wow, she's too old. She's too old. Plus, she's tall like you. She's like 6'2", right? Yeah, she's tall. So, lots of height in that family.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, yeah, I know. That's when you know they're growing up, when those things stop and they
Didn't
don't
even
ask.
ask. So I didn't ask because usually
I
they're the ones
know.
asking me. Okay, it just shows, as just a quick
You're looking more forward to it than they are. That's the way I was too.
All these things you experience with your kids, you never know when it's going to be the last time.
Hey, we carving pumpkins this year, right?
And they're like,
what? Dad, are you an idiot? No, we got a party.
Treasure all these moments, parents. You just don't know. You don't know when it will be the
okay.
last time.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, have a great week with everyone. And
you too.
Keep that, Morris says, keep that Carolina blue Kool-Aid going, Marva. You're good to go. Well, yeah, she's a grad. Of course she is.
Me. Everybody's excited.
Exactly. Everybody. Yeah. No preseason
we
predictions
on Diamond
football.
Heels, but they're number 3 in the country right now, so just keep them in mind. This
In
might
what?
be College World Series year.
In baseball?
Yes.
Are they really?
Yes. Check it out.
UCLA's number 1.
Okay.
Georgia Tech's number 2 and Carolina's 3. Is that how that works? Really?
No. I'm talking about nationally. I'm not talking about
do what?
Nationally.
And that's what I mean. Yeah, like you said.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about ACC.
No. Okay.
Yeah. So just College World Series. If you need me to be there, I've never been. I'd love to go. So I can be your correspondent out there. Get out there.
Well, have a great week.
Okay, you too.
And it's always great to see you.
Good to see you too.
Marvin, Miami. Go Marlins, by the way. Go Marlins.
Yes, Marlins.
Off
Big
to a
win
good
last
start.
night against the
I
Braves.
know. Off to a good start. I saw that. They're playing well. Who knew? You did. You did. You were all over it. Yeah, you were all over it.
Yes.
All right. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
We need to get Marva at a Marlins game is what we need. And you need to get the video from her with her family at a Marlins game. That would be cool. Good stuff from Marva. Brian Siegler going to join us from the Boundary Corner, and we'll get his thoughts on all these things that came out yesterday about the Tech athletics finances. Southwest Virginia to Texas says, I think the constant personnel turnover hurts the product because coaches have to dumb their systems down to accommodate it. Todd Grantham said basically the same thing. They don't have time to develop their teams and bring players along, just like what happened at Oklahoma State. 45,000. Well, we won't ever know the number. Whatever number they put out is going to be accepted as truth because they're not taking tickets this year. So I'm not sure what the number will be. I guess you just have to look at shots and kind of guess from the crowd. Right? So we're not going to really know the number. The number is going to be whatever number they put out there. I'm guessing no matter what the number is, it'll be exaggerated by several thousands because they want to continue the hype and they want to continue the momentum build. Sure. Especially following up what was probably another veiled, let's ask for more money press conference yesterday. But we'll see. Good stuff. Keep it going on our professional door text line. Also on our wonderful McClellan Chiropractic chat room from our Family Fencing Studios. Brian Siegel from the Boundary Corner podcast joins us. What's up, BS? How you doing, brother?
How we doing this morning, Rick?
Doing all right. Well, first of all, let me ask you about how did it go last week with your mystery guest and your podcast?
Yeah. So we had Tyrell Smith on. We were able to secure
that. Good.
Bring a former player, current staff member onto the program. Have a little discussion about his journey. Probably one of the more unique journeys for a player, especially one coming back and becoming a staff member at their alma mater. So I mean, it was a good discussion. He's a great guy, and seems like things are swimming in the right direction from a program standpoint by all accounts from him. So it was a really good discussion.
Well, good. I'm glad. I want to get your take on everything yesterday. I've kind of read through these comments several times from Jay Pearson. The money, obviously the money ask, that was all the board approved, that big push of what was like $229 million, whatever it was. And then we find out fiscal to fiscal, the biggest donating year they've had ever, $52.5 million. Yet The final comment was, well, we're already behind. He didn't leave Tech fans with this great vibe of, hey, we're getting there, we're catching up, we're right where we need to be. The last comment was, things are moving quick, and we have to continue to move quick. And coaches are telling us we're already falling behind. What were some of your thoughts on the comments yesterday from the pro? Were you there, by the way? Did you go?
I was not there, no, but I was following along pretty closely.
Okay, cool.
I think the takeaway that I had, and I think I'm going to spin this as a somewhat of a positive, because what we're getting now is actually communication on how we're standing, where we're standing, what's being done. These are things that we were kind of waiting for an extended period of time before we'd get any sort of update.
It's true.
So I appreciate the transparency. I don't want us to be, regardless of whether, we can have a separate conversation about whether this is a sustainable thing, all those things, but I like to know where we're standing and know what we need to do to get to a competitive point relative to our peers. So having these types of presentations, here's what's going on, here's how we're doing it. We're still not quite where we want to be, even with this investment. Okay, well, at least people that have the bandwidth to potentially give more know that. They're aware of that. They're not just, I've done my part and moving on to the next thing. It's like, oh, well, if I can do more, there's a need there. If I want this team to be competitive, if I want the athletics department as a whole to be competitive in this modern college football landscape, in this modern college sports landscape, we've got to do more from an NIL perspective, is what it seems like. I think from an organizational, from a structural standpoint, everything that happened in the last 12 months has been sufficient to bring us up to the level of our peers, and it's probably that additional NIL bandwidth where we're still maybe lagging behind some of them.
But no numbers given, no goal money is given. Just, hey, we need more. We need more. At some point, don't you think these folks are going to go, okay, so what are we looking at here? How much more is more? What are we looking at? When are you going to be satisfied? Or is it a moving target, as it was kind of concluded yesterday by Jay Pearson? Look, things are moving quickly. They change every day, and our coaches are already telling us we're falling behind. So is that just kind of I feel like that was an intentional thing just to keep these donors understanding that no matter how much you've given, no matter how much we're reporting today, it's still not enough. Right.
And I think that until we get to a point where there's some sort of legislation, even to make the numbers public and NIL deals public and all this stuff, until we're at that point where you can actually put a quantifiable number on, well, here's the sum of the NIL contracts that we have. Here's the sum of our, relative peer from a institutional standpoint. If we're not meeting that, at least that's something to compare against. But until we have that, it's really just more is better.
Yeah.
Right? Like until you got something to compare, NIL payrolls against in the public sphere, it's really hard to have that comparison point. So I think it's really we're banking on word of mouth. We're banking on kind of all these people having conversations with others in this same sphere at other institutions as kind of that benchmark at this point. So, and we know we're not in the blue blood tier, and I don't think we ever will be, and I don't think that's the goal. I think the goal is to be at the towards the top of everybody else, and I think that's potentially an attainable goal, but I don't think it's a sustainable goal. Which again is a separate conversation on some things we need to see probably on the House and Senate level before we really get anything that stands the test of law. Because right now anything that's coming down is going to get heavily suited into a point where now you've got 50 different jurisdictions
correct
that are legislating the entirety of college sports.
The attorney Ryan Pry, who grew up around the Penn State program, said constantly asking for more is a big part of what wore out Franklin's welcome at Penn State. They would give him what he wanted, and he was never enough. How much of this do you think is coming from James Franklin? I mean, that was a great point. I've heard the same thing from several people up there that he went through their budget pretty quickly, and it was always, we don't have enough. We just don't have enough. How much of this is him, the guy they've invested in, going to these folks and saying, well, we need to make sure we continue to keep as much money flowing through here?
I think there's some of that for sure, but I think there's a slight difference with James Franklin in the ACC versus James Franklin in the Big Ten. Because you got Penn State, but Penn State is not Ohio State. Penn State is not Michigan. But Penn State was expected to beat those teams every year. I don't think we'll necessarily get to a Miami money situation, but I think we can be competitive with everyone in our conference that's not Clemson and Miami. And I think we can get close enough where, the money, I guess when we talk about the scale, the scale looking at what Ohio State and Michigan do is not necessarily the same that we're looking at, I think, with Clemson and Miami. I think Miami might be closer in that ballpark from an overall, alumni donation perspective. But I don't think that, you're really looking at the same war chest that is needed to win against a Clemson and Miami that you were looking at with a Penn State against a Miami or Michigan and Ohio State. So I think it's relative. So I don't think it's like something that's always going to be a sticking point, but I think we definitely need to be more competitive relative to our peers in the ACC.
Tim Sands announced his retirement. I don't think there were any questions. Maybe I missed them directly at Whit Babcock yesterday about whether this is going to expedite his plans. What were some of your thoughts about that? We had the comment there from James Franklin a week prior that you have to be aligned with the president. Now that president's leaving, I don't know if he had prior knowledge of that, and I don't know how much say he might have in the new president. But how much does that adjust things over there potentially?
I'm wondering if, from a institutional standpoint, if they're going to bring in a more athletics friendly president.
It feels like it, doesn't it? Yeah,
it does, and I don't necessarily know that that's a Franklin thing, because I don't think Sands was long for Virginia Tech anyway. I think we were looking at maybe a 2 to 3 year lifespan, so this kind of accelerates that by about 1.5 years, 2 years. On the flip side of that, I think having a president that understands the importance of athletics, especially to an institution like Virginia Tech, where athletics has been a big driver of enrollment. It very much, looks and feels like a smaller version of a blue blood from how the athletics can drive the enrollment numbers, how it can drive all the other factors that contribute to academic success as well. So I think that's an important piece to consider when you're looking at a president.
Yeah, agreed. It feels like that's going to happen. I would agree. All right, so we're up upon spring game week. Now you're excited. What do you think? The weather's going to be warm. It's going to be okay. I don't think there's any rain. It might be a little overcast, but no rain being forecast. So what are you thinking? What are you thinking attendance-wise?
I don't know if we'll hit the 66. That's to be determined. But I think 45 is a really good number. I think if you can hit 45, that's probably you'll count that as a win. We'll see if we can pack lane. I don't necessarily know that I've ever seen that. I was there for the first spring game in the Fuente era, and I think that was like hovering right at 40, if I recall, somewhere in that ballpark. Maybe just south of that. I think 45, maybe even 50 is a reasonable number. Packing everything except for maybe parts of South or the high parts of East there, but I'm excited. I know we've got our pregame.
You guys are setting up, aren't you?
Yeah, we got our pregame tailgate up on Chicken Hill. Pete B from Two Deep and Sam, Dan Pultz from Tales from the Terror Dome. We got a couple of guys from Sons of Saturday showing up as well. So it's going to be Independent podcasts in the Hokie realm are going to be well represented up there on Chicken Hill. We got like 3 segments going about 15 minutes each. One of them just going to be kind of a let it fly, kind of off the beaten path type segment, and there'll be some bourbon there. There'll be some food there. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, after you've spent some time with the Boundary Corner spring game Cavs, all that bourbon, you might say, "Hey, look, there's 80,000 people here. Wow,
it looks packed. It looks packed. We're calling 80. Call it 80.
Call it 80. A new record.
Standing room only.
Well, have a great time. I know you will.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And I mean, there's going to be some good food. There's going to be some good drinks. There's going to be some good conversation. So it's going to be fun. And then we get to go and guaranteed to watch a Hokies W. So
that's right. As long as there's no injuries, it's going to be a win. Doesn't matter.
Right. That's right. Get out healthy, and it's a win across the board, man.
A win across the board. Who's coaching the 2 teams? Do we know?
I haven't seen that. I think usually they announce the format like Wednesday or Thursday before the game. Okay. So we're going live Wednesday, just a little bit of a pregame kind of things we want to look at during the game. So we'll talk about that a little bit, and hopefully we get the format before then so we can break that down a little bit. I know my buddy Curtis on Boundary Corner, he's not a huge fan of the split rosters. He'd rather go 1s versus 2s, 2s versus 1s, mix that up a little bit, just because you do get a little bit better look of how guys are working together, what the depth chart's going to look like, things like that. And I know we're still kind of early, especially with the new regime coming in here from a depth chart perspective. There's still some evaluations going on. Got a couple guys that were nicked up that aren't probably going to be playing in the game, but I'm just happy either way. I'm happy that we actually have enough tackle depth where we can actually, if we're splitting the rosters, probably be okay, even with a couple guys nicked up. So I'm excited to see what we can do. I'm excited to see Grunt go out there and spin it a little bit. And I'm excited to see kind of what this Pride defense looks like.
Yeah. Well, it'll look like the old defense. It's going to be the same
by and large. But there's a couple new pieces mixing in there, so I'm excited to see what they look like, and it should be a really good Saturday. Looking forward to it. We're going to try to avoid a sunburn.
Well, let's hope he shows up looking like he's not in witness protection again with the sunglasses. I don't know what's going on with him. I haven't seen him without sunglasses.
The beanie and the sunglasses is the new look, man. Yeah. I don't think he'll be wearing a beanie on Saturday.
Yeah. It's a new look for him. Yeah. All right, brother. Have a blast. I know you will. Can't wait to get your reaction to everything next week.
Appreciate you, Rick, as always. Have a good one now.
All right, brother. Take care. There you go. Ryan Siegler from the Boundary Corner. Going to have a good time. To say the least. I go back to what Coach Elmo said. What I'm looking for, let's get 22 starters that look good. I thought about yesterday at times what he said. And I think he's right. If you look at a team and a coach immediately tells you, well, I like our depth, that might be a red flag. Okay, what about your starters? Now, you want to have guys who can come in if you need them to, but you don't want guys that are sitting and you're sitting there on game day going, maybe we should have started him instead of the guy we're putting at left tackle. Then your talent level's kind of. So let's see 22 clear-cut starters on Saturday. And I agree with Brian. I wish the format was the other way as opposed to splitting the squads up. But anyway, your thoughts. We're not going to know how many people are there. You have to just look if you're there and see the stadium because nobody's taking tickets. They're going to completely exaggerate how many were there to fall in line with James Franklin's request. That's just the way stuff like that works. But if you look and see that most of the seats are full, you're going to know that, hey, you know what? Maybe we did get 45,000 here. I don't know. But getting through the game without having serious injuries, I think, is going to be the major thing. We'll talk to Mike Burnup about all this stuff coming up in about half an hour. He'll give us the insight on what really needs to be taken out of Saturday, right, going forward. And we'll see if he wants to talk about a little bit of the what I thought was a very mixed messaging coming out of Tech administration about their athletic situation. I mean, about their financial situation. Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios, 540-200-8294. Reach out to them at familyfencingnrv.com. Mark Hunley, McClellan Chiropractic Clinic off of Walters Drive. If you've got any kind of back issue, ailment whatsoever, go see Mark. Sundown Electric, one of the best reputations of satisfied customers around. Superior craftsmanship, complete transparency, clear communication about what they need to do, what it's going to take to get the job done. And then, of course, they'll go over different types of costs with you. The Ready Set Fund, a chance for you to raise money for your organization. Floyd County Softball raised $4,300 in a week. ReadySetFund.com. Reach out to Bob Christ, BOBCRIST11 @gmail. Professional Door Incorporated with Travis Williams, residential, commercial, garage doors, family owned and operated, 38 years in business. The NRV Super Bowl's been around for 25 years. 382-5525. Go reserve your lanes today. Also, Lawson's Mobile Home Supply. James Lawson's at 540-381-8011, 300 North Franklin Street. Windows, doors, plumbing supplies, great prices too. So go see them. You need some little things around to make your house better. Go see James Lawson. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of me and this program. We appreciate them for all the refinancing help. The attorney Ryan Pry. Fan question of the week brought to you by the attorney Ryan Pry, 701 West Main Street in Radford, Trust and Estate Planning. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. Give Charles Lee a call. Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. We're presented by those folks each and every day. Yesterday, I posted, they sent some pictures. If you go to the BDST Facebook page, I reposted the stuff that they have going on with their brand new Sportsplex. They've got pictures up. It's really cool. It's everything they said it is and even more. It's on schedule and expected to open in the fall of 2026. 165,000 square foot indoor facility. Wow. Once complete, the Pulaski County Sportsplex will serve as a robust community recreation wellness center, as well as a premier destination venue for sports tourism and entertainment activities. I told you about the BMX event that they're going to have. That's really cool. Really, really cool. Awesome. Awesome stuff. All right, where are we here? Prometheus says, with all these new players, going live is a must to evaluate. Exactly. I mean, that's why I like to see them have a better gauge on what and splitting up. Injuries are part of the game. When you try to limit players, their bodies aren't ready for live play. And I'm not saying they need to limit them, but they need to get their work in and not have to report any serious injuries, right? That's the key. Because I believe, Prometheus, that's what's happened in the NFL. That and, of course, the horrible turf. I'm glad to see those conversations are happening more regularly now. If the Players Association had any gumption, they would hold out until they put grass in all the fields. That's a push that's going on, because these NFL stadiums are bringing grass in when they're hosting these soccer events, because the soccer leagues and the professionals demand that they play on grass. They've done studies, and they tell you that it's safer. So what are the NFL stadiums doing? They're bringing in grass to put on top of their turf, yet when the NFL teams come back, they get to play on the turf that's not nearly as safe. Besides, the plastic takes everything away from football. Where's the dirt? I want to see some dirt, right? I want to see dirt kick up. I want to see grass blades. I don't want to see little black pebbles get in people's faces when they get tackled. What are we doing? What are we doing? And you want to talk about cost? Well, it's so cost efficient. Well, how much does it cost to bring in a brand new grass field, fly it in for the soccer event you're hosting, remove it? Come on. Any event. But I think a lot of the injuries we see in the NFL is because, the last time they negotiated, hey, contact was cut down. What did Todd tell us? 40% of contact in practice got reduced by the time he just left the NFL 2 years ago. And there was a list of things. What was it he was saying that you looked and now you can't do this? And you're like, how do you get guys ready to play football? Your body has to be ready to play football. Tebow says, I'm going to catch some rays, eat a big fat turkey leg, and check out the sea. There you go. That's the right mindset. Yeah, you can't tell much. You can't tell much. People are going to exaggerate the good things that they see, and then they'll shrug off the bad things they see. 2 reports that are guaranteed, or what you're going to see trending on the message boards and on X. 1, the exaggerated attendance number. And 2, when somebody does something, a quarterback, they're going to act like, oh my goodness gracious, this guy is going to be, you watch. Those are the 2 things that are guaranteed. All football games should be played outdoors, period. No exceptions, but that will never happen. Even the Bears are going indoor. Yeah, they're going to Indiana, right? Players want to play on grass. The game's better on grass. And now, 70% of the fields are plastic. But it would be a real slap in the face if I were a player playing in a stadium that had the plastic, knowing they're going to ship in the soccer field just for the soccer exhibition and then remove it. That's why there was so much controversy. I'll never forget it. First time I ever went to Notre Dame, the year we beat them, as a matter of fact, in basketball, we being Radford basketball with Mike Jones and Carly Jones. And walk around the stadium, and there was a big battle between, they put plastic on the Notre Dame field. It looks terrible. It doesn't in any way represent what that stadium and everything about Touchdown Jesus represents. It just takes away so much that they put plastic on that field. As one of the people up there told me, one of the administrators, we've got plenty of money. We could bring in a new field every week if people are complaining about the condition of the grass after we get through a couple months of the season. My not so bold prediction, traffic is going to suck. Yeah, I don't know what kind of police presence there is for a spring game. Seems like I remember it kind of being chaotic. There are no parking spaces that are guaranteed. We used to go over there for the spring game radio broadcast. Now we get there earlier on the tailgate show. And I remember it being just a free-for-all. Yeah. And now the first year with Franklin, oh my goodness. Mike Burnup's coming up. We'll get his take on all these things, what he expects from a crowd perspective, what they're looking to get done, what he's looking for them to get done. And then, of course, some of the financial things that came out yesterday. I thought some very interesting messaging was intended yesterday. It's the same as the home game. Same. Oh, what do you mean, Brady? You mean police presence and stuff, helping direct traffic? Okay, good. That's good to know. That's good to know. I mean, it makes sense. But I remember in years past, it wasn't that way, or it didn't seem to be that way. Yeah. Did not seem to be that way. Maybe that's why it is now. Prometheus says he always parks at a buddy's house next to Kroger's. I'm in and out pretty easy. I get that. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. You just kind of walk up yeah. That makes sense. I've done that before when I go. I'll park over there in that general area and just hoof it a little bit. I'm going to go get Creed and I'll be back. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I do the same thing. Okay, sorry about that. He's got me trained now. He knows. He knows I'm going to let him in. And you can't just let him in. You gotta pet him a little bit, right? So Mark asks here on the professional door text line. So was there any announcement made about exactly how much money Tech's still going to need, or did they just come out and make it a general statement? Yes, we constantly need more. No, they did not. They did not. They just said they needed more. We're doing great, but we need more. They just need more. Like I said, where's the responsibility of the people that are being hired? I mean, you've just fired your football coach. You bring in another one, and you fired that football coach because he wasn't doing his job. So you held him accountable. What about the other people that are there in higher administration? How accountable are they? Not just saying at Tech, but at all these places across the country that continue to say, hey, our hands are out. We need your money. What about doing your job? Coaches are paid way too much money. Athletes are paid ridiculous amounts of money that make zero sense to any common folk. Indiana won a natty without money, or a lot of money. They now have money. So the pressure is going to be on for them to repeat and to be back in the mix. Will that happen? There's no guarantee. Matter of fact, I think there's going to be a tremendous drop-off at Indiana next year. We'll see if I'm right. We'll see if I'm wrong. Now, I don't mean they're going to fall off the face of the earth, but I don't think they're going to be a national title contender. They don't have Fernando Mendoza anymore. Yeah, I think you're right, Wayne. The 3 p.m. start makes it a bit tougher for people coming from other parts of the state. Too few hotels, and they will be, so overpriced. So people locally have to just go out. Yeah. Ebo says it does sound like more athletic-friendly employees are coming to Burris in the athletic department. And this isn't a Tech problem. This is a where we are problem. And this, I made sure I was reading all this stuff yesterday, people that were reporting and just seeing, and it just sounds like when you see the comments and the way the presser was handled, that a couple days ahead of time, they all got together and said, well, this is great, but look where we need to go. We're screwed. We're not going to say that. We need to get this message across that it just has to keep coming. And that's what I'm talking about. How much is enough? How much is when? And I'm not saying you give what you can, but I'm talking about, like Wayne was mentioning, corporate money. When do they ask the question? Okay, look, Virginia Tech won however many games, you fill in the blank, year one under James Franklin. So what's the dollar value you put on them winning 2 more games? Is that what it comes down to? Or is that just a crutch just to make sure you have more disposable cash? Teddy says, the guy over there that told you it's money laundering is exactly right. That's all this sounds like, not only in Blacksburg, but across the country. Let's just keep as much money as we can flowing in. And, you know, it's weird. It's just weird. It's weird that it's so widely accepted all over the place. It's strange. I mean, not everything, because they had injuries, but most of the struggles around men's basketball is they don't have enough money. Do they need a $20 million payroll? I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking the question like you. I don't know. Michigan paid 7 figures each and then some to each of its starting 5, and they won the Natty. Here's my question. Let's say Michigan spent upwards of $20 million on its roster. They won a Natty. How much money do they benefit from that? Like, how much does the athletic department benefit from winning the national championship? I mean, I don't know. I just don't know. Is winning the Natty and having that accomplishment, is that the only goal here, or is it to potentially make sure you live up to that investment and pay off that investment? So I just, I just never thought, probably naive, that we'd be in this discussion. I mean, I know that there's always been haves and have-nots in college athletics, but never did I think it was going to be to this degree, and how it just seems like it's nonstop. It's the train that won't keep from chugging down the tracks, man. And everybody is willing to pay it. Remember the scene in Field of Dreams? Remember when really the best part of the movie is James Earl Jones' speech at the end? People will come, Ray. They most definitely will come. And they'll hand over their money without even knowing they're doing it. They will gladly hand over their money. However, that's the mindset that these athletic departments are taking with their partners. We have to present this, so they'll just gladly hand over their money without even thinking about it. And that's where we are. Those of you that are asking on the professional door text line, I don't have an answer. They didn't supply the amount of money they still needed yesterday. Jay Pearson didn't put a number on it, but boy, we need more. We're already falling behind because things are moving quickly. So when you count the $229 million plus the record $52 million that was donated. Now, I'm not great at math, but that's over $280 million that you've had, boom, hit your athletic department budget, and it's still not enough. Do I think that means that people are completely irresponsible? No. What it means is your business, the model of your business, which is college athletics, is a complete and utter sham, and it's completely broken. And again, all you have to do, if you're in a position of any kind of authority, and tell me where I'm wrong on this. If you're Greg Sankey, and I always forget, who's the Big Ten commissioner now? I can never remember his last name. He's an Italian fellow, right? Came from Let's see. Tony Petitti. So if you're Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti, you are the two most powerful commissioners in all of college athletics. Your voices are probably heard more loudly than presidents or any ADs for certain. Petitti was president and CDO of Major League Baseball Network, chief operating officer of Major League Baseball. Don't you believe if you're Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti, don't you think that you could, don't you believe that you could set the rules? There's no legal basis for anything other than if you try to insert some kind of overruling legislation like the president's bill or like, this whole limiting the portal. Then you're going to get in, as Brian was talking about, and all the litigation that's going to just hold things up and destroy any progress. What if you, as the commissioner of the SEC and the commissioner of the Big Ten, don't make it a overall rule, but if all of a sudden you say, because you're the two with the most revenue and you're the two conferences that have been spending the most by and large on your rosters, what if you decided to go through an unofficial freeze after a certain level and you created your own salary cap? The ACC and the Big 12 would be glad to comply because they're not making that kind of money. They don't have the media deals or the money coming in to their institutions like the SEC and the Big Ten do. So no one's going to complain if you're already struggling trying to keep up, like a Virginia Tech. Why can't you just say, after meeting with the presidents of our universities and talking to our athletic directors, we know this is going to be the way going forward, but we have installed now a salary cap amongst our institutions, and they all signed something that just says, look, we're not fighting you on pay for play. We're not fighting you on your ability to come and go as you please, but this is all that we have. Now, if you want to come to our leagues and you want to prepare for the next level, I mean, we have guys that are using the kid from Connecticut, the guy who made the shot. Did you see that? He's saying he wants $4.5 million from UConn to come back next year because he knows where he might fall in the draft. And he looked at what his rookie contract year one salary would be. So he's saying, if I'm going to stay here and not go in the draft, you're going to have to pay me what I would make in the draft. How ridiculous is that? Professional sports, going to the professional level is not even motivation anymore. We have guys applying for 6, 7, 8 years of college ball. Prometheus says the bottom line with Tech is they need a PR person to advise them on what to say. Yeah. They continue to put their foot in their mouth. And I think we just said $280 million coming in, counting the big BOV approval and counting the 52 from year to year. And they're still saying they're falling behind. So, yeah. If you're feeling good about it as a donor and you see those and you're in on these meetings and you see the amount of money that was raised, you're like, wow, 52 million. That's a record, man. We did our part. Well, here are your leaders yesterday saying, well, we're nowhere near where we need to be. And that's the way it is at a lot of places. But am I wrong? Could the SEC, should somebody just take a step forward and say this is it and have their institutions agree? Couldn't you do that? If money is that big of a problem, Couldn't you do that? Southwest Virginia. Well, bye, UConn guy. Yeah, he said that. He said, pay me 4.5. So if you want me to stay, not go to the draft, because I've already been told by my people, my handlers. He has a multiple agency, by the way. College athletes with multiple people representing them. It's all over the place. These folks pounced on this new industry that was created by pay for play, and they are now instituted all over the country. There are now firms, there are now CEOs of agency businesses that are built upon college athletes. How about that? It's a battle that's never going to be won, is what I'm saying. And when you're going to start to go into it like Major League Baseball, we've said this a lot, without a salary cap. It's why baseball is getting ready for a massive work stoppage after 2026, because enough's enough. And when you have baseball people putting out that maybe 8 teams per year have a legitimate shot at probably being somebody who can win the World Series, because at the trading deadline, they can go and they can acquire whoever they want and defer all these salaries, then how much interest does that sustain league-wide? It's gonna be that way in college athletics. If we continue to have only the 7 or 8, 9, 10 programs every year, and I'm guessing that's what we're going to see more and more of now going forward until something's instituted, how much more interest are you going to have to watch it when it's going to be the same vibe as you see in baseball or other sports? That's why the salary cap is so important in the NFL. It's what's been the integral part of parity in the NFL that Pete Rozelle foresaw many years ago. And baseball doesn't have it, and baseball is in total chaos, and it's going to have probably a year-long work stoppage after the World Series this year, so we can have a caps floor and we can have a cap salary. So we'll see. We'll see. Joining us now on the program, he's going on year number 44, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Michael? Coming up in the booth?
I'm like Frank Beamer. That's too many 4 quarters ago.
I love it. I love it. Too many 4 quarters ago.
Long time, brother. I've seen the ups, the downs,
I know
the highs, the lows, and everything in between.
I know you have. Good discussion today. You know, yesterday Tech kind of revealed some numbers. Great news on the donations, and we know they got the money coming in from the board. All these things are very positive, yet still the message was they're still falling behind, Mike. And it's not just Tech. I got a feeling this messaging is probably similar everywhere. This thing continues to spiral despite the great news, you know, in terms of the numbers provided yesterday by Jay Pearson and Whit Babcock. This thing just continues to spiral in a way that nobody really can get a handle on, right? In terms of where it's going to end up, how much money is enough, right?
Well, I can tell you now, there's never enough.
Yeah.
The way this thing is going now, and that's why you're seeing so many players leave. I mean, how many kids are in a portal in basketball? My goodness.
I saw that.
And they think all those kids are going to land somewhere better than what they were?
No chance.
I mean, it's a sad state of affairs, and it's a shame that the NCAA is letting this thing get so out of hand and can't get the grips on it and put the guardrails up and get this train back on the track, because it's just not sustainable. I think everybody understands and knows that, and they got to get going. And now, you know, all this stuff going on with Dr. Sands stepping down, and, you know, the situation with Whit Babcock. You know, most presidents want their own AD. So I don't know what's going to happen. This thing is turning fast and changing quick, and who knows where it's going to end up. You know, and the governor gets involved. I mean, it's like, how much more of a mess can you make it, right?
That's a great point. Yeah, with Sands is leaving, you got a new president. How does that affect James Franklin's mindset? Then you're right, athletic. It's all got to be tied in, and now you got the. It just seems like as great as the news was, it was fleeting, right? When everything got it's now you're now in the other direction, just like that. Just so that maybe that's what Mr. Pearson's talking about it moving, changing quickly, right? Because you look up and it's changed already from what it was. So,
well, you think about it. I mean, how many times did James Franklin talk about the alignment? Everybody's got to be aligned. You know, the president of the university, the athletic director. Excuse me, Rick. And then, you know, the president steps down, and then that gets the situation with Witt a little bit uncertain. And so, you know, guys leaving, reporting new people to the board. You got the governor out there that I'm sure wants to get involved in who she appoints just in terms of the people on the board of visitors. And yeah, I mean, things have changed for James Franklin. It's like I'm wondering what's going through his mind with all the uncertainty about that regard, because he talked so much about the alignment, how important that was, and everybody be on the same page. And I think the board is, you know, John Rokovich is certainly pro athletic along with Jay Pearson. They understand the situation. So now, you know, it's going to be fun to watch the dominoes fall and see how this thing ends up.
Louise Baker, the Louise Baker team, Long and Foster today with Mike Byrne. That's a great point. And you wonder, because James Franklin did say that, people have speculated. I don't know whether he had any indication that he was going to be looking up and saying, oh, a new president's coming in now, right? I don't know if that was shared with him at the time, but you're right that he had just made those comments and he was very adamant about that, right? That maybe it's saying that wasn't how it was when I left Penn State, so I need it to be that way here. And all of a sudden, everything changes. So
yeah, it's going to change and change quick. And you know, you hear rumors about there's like a 2-month window that they need to get somebody appointed as president. You know, the situation at UVA was kind of similar in that regard, where Governor Youngkin was involved, and you know, I think they want to get that thing taken care of. So, you know, does the board already have somebody in mind? Do they have an athletic director in mind? I mean, I don't know. It's just so. Boy, things change quick in this business, and it certainly changed when Dr. Sands announced he was stepping down. And
yeah,
I'm not sure how much warning people had for that, but I know his contract was up in 2027. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. And you know, we're meeting with James Franklin on Wednesday just to get our pregame interview for the spring game. So she may shed some more light on that about his feelings. So we'll see, and it may not be for public record, but we'll
sure
kind of get a feel for things anyway. So yeah, it's different.
Well, that's okay. You're good at letting us know without saying, you know, if it was, you know, what kind of conversation it was. So that's fine.
Maybe we need to let Louise Baker become the run for president. Get her involved.
Louise would be great. Yeah, she'd be very transparent. By the way, happy belated birthday to Louise. She had a birthday a couple days ago.
Oh, good for her. Happy birthday, Louise. Yeah, belated.
Yep. All right, well, let's put aside the nastiness of college athletics a little bit. Let's look forward to Saturday, right? Looks like the weather's going to cooperate. We expect a pretty large crowd, Mike. And as always, I like to ask you, just from a football perspective, you've watched practice. I mean, what do you look for when you watch these spring games over the years? And how will this one maybe be a little different since it's the first one for James Franklin here in Blacksburg?
You know, I think they were meeting yesterday on how to decide what they were going to do, how they're going to break the teams up and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, this is going to be a busy week for them because they're practicing today, and then they're going to practice again Thursday, Friday, and Saturday's the game. So this is kind of a busy week. You know, they're making up that one practice that they did not have over Easter because they went Tuesday, Friday that week. So they're going today. I think it's just kind of limited tackling, thud tackling. The bulk of the hard work is, in terms of tackling and scrimmaging, is over. They're not going to get anybody banged up for the spring game. Friday's just going to be like about an hour walkthrough with helmets only, I think. And a bunch of alumni are in town. The Edmonds brothers have that family reunion that they're going to do. So that's always kind of a fun event, getting all the ex-players back together. I think that's from 5 to 6:30 or something like that. And then there's a big fundraising gala on the Castle Coliseum floor from 6:30 to 8:30 Friday night, which will be a bunch of high rollers there for sure. And so it's a busy week. They're having that networking event Thursday night for the players. that they want to go to and try to think about their futures that maybe not involve football, because everybody thinks they can play in the NFL, and the reality is that you're going to have to get a real job, right?
That's
And
right.
yeah, you're not going to be able to play till you're 26 years old or 27 years old.
That's right. That's right.
As much as
They
you like
want,
to.
they want
'Cause those-
to.
Yeah, because those rules are changing too. I mean, I hope they do get some guardrails up, at least with the 5-year thing, and maybe the one chance to transfer. But we'll see how that plays out too. But it's going to be a busy week. I thought last week's scrimmage was good. I think the defense probably got the better of the offense more in some of the drills. And, they do a lot of different things, and they keep score in most of those. And the scrimmages went good. The quarterbacks and still are looking good. I think Grunkenmeyer's is really talented. He can make all the throws, Rick, all the windows,
Yep.
tight windows. He's patient back there in the back. You can tell he's got experience, played in big games. Troy Hune has had his moments too, being there as a freshman, but he's looked good. And so has Bryce Baker. So, I was hoping they'd go a little bit live. Coach Franklin talked about letting those quarterbacks that hadn't been involved in games before go live, but
That's
they
right.
really didn't, Saturday at least. Now, maybe some of the drills earlier they had, but yeah, so I thought all in all it was a good practice. And one thing that stood out, man, I'm telling you, he is a stickler for guys committing penalties and getting in fights. I mean, one of the things that this is the craziest thing. Two guys got in a fight. I'm not going to mention their names. I don't know if it's, but these two guys get in a fight on a field goal attempt. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, they're out there wailing their arms and stuff, and it's like, and so boy, he was hot, and he sent him down to the other end of the field with one of the strength and conditioning people, and they did ups and downs, Rick, for about an hour.
Wow.
Because that was kind of still there was a lot of scrimmage left to be played. So they went down there, and I think it was like 250 of them, ups and downs. Can you think about that now? And it was kind of hot out there Saturday. So they're down there in the end zone, and they're doing them, and I mean they're just struggling going down and getting back up again. And you think if you do like 25, 50 of those, that's pretty tough. Think about 250 of them and the heat with all those pads on. Yeah, that was something. And then the other thing is it takes them out of practice, right?
Sure.
You get a black eye because you're sitting there and you're not be able to get in the reps that you need. And so he's adamant about that, man. You hurt your team. You can't make stupid penalties like that. They're going, and there was other situations during there too that a guy would jump off sides on offense in the red zone, back them up 5 yards. That cost him a first down, and the defense wins the rep on that. Had another situation where one of the quarterbacks threw a great pass to the kid from Penn State, Luke Reynolds, the tight end.
Yeah.
Made a great catch in the end zone. Quarterback takes his helmet off before he gets to the sideline, 15-yard penalty. So they assess it on the kickoff because it was after the play. But still, there you are putting yourself in a bad position, hurting your team. He was mad about that. So all those little things like that, he's been a stickler for, and hopefully you'll see a clean product on the field, coming this fall, because you can't have those situations where you hurt your team and that hidden yardage just kills you.
Well, I like that. I like that constant reminder of the things that won't be acceptable here. I mean, you might know some things that we don't like, but there's some things that are not acceptable. And I like to hear that message is being sent. That's a positive thing. I like that.
And the same thing too, as this was last week. If you make a mistake like that, you come out of the game and you take a lap around the whole field. And it's like you're getting pointed out. And I think guys are learning from their mistakes. I don't think you'll see any more fights after what those guys did. I mean, they were like ready to blow their grits by the time that thing was over. So yeah, it was hot and it was warm, and looks like it's going to be a beautiful Saturday too. So that's going to be great for the crowd. That's what you hope for. You get a great crowd. Let them get that experience. Let the coaches get the experience of seeing what it's like with the communication from the press box to the field, the officials, the time clock. You can't blow the whistle and stop the play. Let's get this thing moving. Let's play, see what we got to do, and see how people react. To the stands and everything that's around them. Because it's a lot different from an empty stadium when you got a bunch of people there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's just, and it sounds like that because of the weather and everything else, 40,000 seems like a realistic goal, doesn't it? Right now? I mean, you
I
would
would,
think that.
I would think so. I would think they would get at least that. And think about it is, Rick, when people can come and it's open seating, some people take up two seats, and same way in the parking lots, they'll take up a lot of space because
Yeah.
they can, right?
Yeah, that's
and,
right.
and so, that 40,000 will look like it's 55,000 maybe.
That's true. This
So,
is true. And we won't know the number because there's no tickets. So we'll just be
yeah.
guessing. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, switching gears, good news for basketball. The big three's back. They were able to take care of those guys. And we saw where they lost Neo to the Carolina Tar Heels from Michael Malone, his first recruit, if you will.
Well, they got unlimited money, right? They
Yeah, they
got deep
do.
pockets.
They got
Yeah.
deep pockets down there. Yeah.
When he was an
What do you
NBA coach, I'm sure that makes Neo happy.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think about that move for him? Just change the scene. You've seen it happen a lot of times when players have come to Tech and they get to Blacksburg, and all of a sudden they're like, put their past behind them and have good careers. It can happen the other way too, I guess. We'll see.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's happened to a lot of guys. I mean, look at Tyler Nicker, left Virginia Tech and went to Vanderbilt and had a really good year down there.
Yeah.
He was a big piece of Mark Byington's puzzle. And so, yeah, it happens. I mean, we'll see what goes on here. I mean, you never know. I mean, I'm glad he was able to keep the big three. I think the kid from Oklahoma will be a big help to him. He's kind of a 6'9" guy, can shoot threes. You got to have guys that can make those shots from outside. And he's a little bit skinny, but Coach Jackson will get him kind of beefed up a little bit. So I think that'll help. And I know he's working on it hard. Coach Young is. They're still got more pieces to put together. And hopefully those are guys that left, the Jaden Shoots, the Gerdacks of the world will end up being in better positions. Still kind of a surprise. I guess Doran went to Wake Forest, which is kind of interesting because, he and Coach Forbes and Mike Young are really good friends.
Yeah.
So, I hope it works out for the kids. It's just the system's what's so screwed up. You feel bad for the kids sometimes because there are good kids. But, the advice that they're getting from their agents and handlers and
I know.
parents is not great sometimes.
No, and this whole agent thing is now universal. I mean, just from a Radford perspective, you talk about coaches they're talking about, well, we talked to their representation, and I'm like, wow. It's just bizarre how quickly that little extra business little community has grown in a short amount of time, given the state of college athletics, right? Everybody's got an agent now. It's crazy.
No, it is. And it goes to trickles down to high school. I mean, a friend of mine that I played with and his son played here. He's got like his grandson wants to come to Virginia Tech and he's just a sophomore in high school. And the guy's got a handler. He's got somebody that's taking care of him, trying to get him into some of these camps. I mean, like what? I mean, what does this thing come to? A sophomore in high school? It's out of control, Rick.
It's ugly. The whole thing's ugly. And we're going to see how much more fans are going to just nod their head and go along with it. I don't know. At some point, there's got to be a breaking point. It's got to be.
Well, it's broken.
Yeah, it's true. It's already broken, but there's got to be some kind of universal recognition that, okay, we're done now. There's no more money. Here's going to be, and I always think that you're not going to have the president's thing's probably not going to happen. Nobody's going to be able to stop anything, but the SEC and the Big Ten can say, all right, we're putting out a cap. We've talked to our institutions. We've gotten together. This is going to be it. And then maybe that's the only way to get any of this done. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't either. I wish they would let Jay Billis take over basketball and let Saban take over football and get a committee and try to get this thing figured out and get it back on the right path because it's out of whack and out of control. And, they're talking about doing away with the championship games in football, which, I could see that happening. Yep. You got to speed that calendar up. I mean, they're going to play that championship game next year, January 23rd or 4th.
I know.
Like, what in the world are you doing? I mean, everybody's in school in the winter by then. It's like, it's just out of whack. Totally out of whack.
Totally out of whack. Completely out of whack. Do you still see the bowls maybe potentially moving to the front of the season? I hope that happens too. That makes a lot of sense to me.
And something's going to have to. I mean, they've already lost, 3 or 4 bowls already?
Already,
yeah. And so, I think it would be a good thing to try to incorporate that early in the year and have those marquee games early in the season to see where you are. I mean, I think This thing with VMI will probably be a one and done type thing, but I think that'd be great. Just like last year, the Hokies went down and played South Carolina. Now that wasn't an easy start to go play South Carolina on a neutral site, but then come back and have to play Vanderbilt, two SEC teams back to back.
Yeah.
That was not a good start and a good recipe. But yeah, I like the fact that you play those games right off the get go. See what you got. Kind of gets those kids' attention in the off season, and especially in the fall. Like, hey, we know we got to have our best game and be ready to go because this is no pushover.
100%. And if you're going to ask fans to continue to invest, those are the games they want to see. They don't want to see Tech play VMI. I mean, I'm sorry, they just don't. So
yeah, and get a nice game when DC has their new stadium up there for the Commanders.
Yeah.
Well, you talk about a marquee game, open up that place up, and shoot, you'd fill it up for sure. Playing
there's
a good team,
no question.
West Virginia or somebody, Penn State, it'd be awesome.
Oh, can you imagine if Tech and Penn State worked out something? Oh my goodness gracious, that would be
there'd be a few chips out there, wouldn't there? On some shoulders. The woodchuck would be out.
The woodchuck would be out, and there wouldn't be an empty seat.
No, when they played West Virginia there, and that place was packed, and yeah, it'd be fun. I think that's something they need to continue to do.
Yeah, it'd be great. What time you guys going on Saturday, Mike?
We're just only having a half-hour pregame show, 2:30, and then still, again, we're not sure about the format, how they're going to split them up, how long the halftime is going to be. I think they want to try to get out of there by 5. So, and Coach Franklin's he's going to meet with some of the donors right after the game up in the press box, some of the Triumph people, I think. So it's a lot going on. You got lacrosse starting Thursday, and you got softball, you got baseball, you got the spring game, the run from remembrance. This is a busy, busy weekend, and just really glad that so many people are going to be back on campus, and the weather's going to be great. Tailgating will be fantastic, and this is going to be a fun weekend.
Yeah, you always have a blast, I know, at the spring game, because it's really just keep people healthy, but it's really no pressure. It's just always kind of a fun thing for everybody. So
yeah, and so many ex-players come back for this too, to be with the Edmond Brothers reunion, get out there on the field and see Coach Franklin and see what they're all about, and it's always great to see them too. So, because a lot of those guys, either are coaching in high school now that are not playing anymore.
Sure.
But the ones that are in the NFL rosters, they come back because they can. There's no commitments for weekend games in the fall. It's hard when you're on the NFL team. Yeah, it's a great time.
Well, listen, have a great call. I know you will. And congratulations on another spring game on the air for Mike Burnup. And thanks to Louise Baker. And she'll be there celebrating her birthday about a week late, being there amongst the crowd screaming. So there you go.
Heck yeah. We love Louise.
We do. Well, Mike, listen, have a great call, man. Good stuff as always.
All right, Rick, you take care. Have a good weekend yourself. And we'll see if everything goes smooth and talk about it next week.
Exactly. That's right. And no injuries, the best thing. No injuries, right? No injuries.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Stay healthy.
Stay healthy. All right, brother. Stay safe.
All right, you too, Rick.
All right, man. There you go. Great stuff from Mike Burnham. 44 years, I believe, in the booth for Mike. And that's awesome. Thanks to Louise Baker. Louise Baker, Team Long and Foster. Good stuff. Mike's great because he's just directly talking about it. He made a great point, didn't he? I mean, it kind of disarray is the good word. It just feels like things are now in disarray. As positive as the money has been. Good morning, Chris Lester. Glad to have you here. We missed you. Wonder where you were today. Great news about the money, but it sounds like maybe the President Sands announcement came kind of surprised some people, including James Franklin. I've kind of wondered that. I didn't know. I think Mike kind of answered it. I don't think James Franklin knew that this was happening. That might change things a little bit. Interesting. We don't know that for sure, but it could. It could very well put a little kink into the plans going forward. But maybe they'll solve that by making him involved a lot more than a coach normally is with the selection of a new president. How much does the new governor get involved? Tenuous time, man. Tell you what, that new president hire, you talk about a new AD, but that new president hire is going to be integral for Tech if they want to stay vital in college athletics. And as Mike was indicating, you got to get somebody in there that understands that world. Presidents are never going to be hired strictly because of their athletic knowledge or desire, right? It's all about the other side of it, the academia side. The athletic side is one part of it, but everybody's looking at the what the school's supposed to represent in terms of its educational proponent. No, this just in, but so we'll see. Postseason bowl games, other than the college football playoff, are dead thanks to opt-outs. Correct. They do need to be at the beginning of the season to be relevant. Mike Burnett brought that up a decade ago. Mike's been saying that longer than anybody I know. And I think it finally looks like it could happen sooner than later with these bowl games, because people are going to keep going out of business. And, you can't keep asking advertisers to put their name and their money on a brand and have that stadium a quarter or maybe half full. That happened a lot. We saw a lot of shots on X of these bowl games, even the bigger games, and how many empty seats there were because of those opt-outs and other reasons, and games that have nothing to do with the playoff. The playoff, as it should, has dominated. Once it got expanded, it completely dominates the postseason scene, as it should. But it has made traditional college football postseason have to take a different stance and a different look at itself. Because the bowl games mean nothing if you're not in the playoff. They just don't. Virginia Tech wins 8 games, 9 games, and they're not ACC champs. They don't go to the playoff. They're going to play in one of these games, and it'll be a good vibe. Hey, James Franklin, year 1, got them to a bowl, but what's it really going to mean? Especially when you have so many bowl teams now that have losing records. You have 5 and 7 teams getting in bowls. Some teams even opted out of bowls. Notre Dame opted out of a bowl. So the whole bowl thing is over unless you move them to the front of the season. Then you can build the momentum. Then you can guarantee sellouts. Then you can guarantee maximum sponsor support, because you're kicking off a new college football season and there's a lot of excitement, and our bowl game is directly going to help do all that. And then you can sell that. It's hard to sell some game in Arizona or in Florida or anywhere else in between on a December night, a random December night, with your 6th place Big Ten team against your 9th place ACC team. I don't know. Because when we talk about how we don't want the NCAA basketball tournament to expand to the point where we're just seeing all these mediocre Power 4 teams play like we're watching a conference tournament that we normally wouldn't tune into anyway, that's what these bowl games are. You're signing middle-of-the-pack teams playing in games that have no effect on anything, and they're losing money. These games are losing money left and right. And the players don't want to play in them. They started opting out about, 7-8 years ago. It started to become fashionable, and now it's done by, I don't know what the percentage has grown to. Wouldn't you think at least 30% of the players opt out of bowl games now? A lot of the guys that are getting paid, their contracts, right? Hey, my contract specified 12 games. If I'm not part of the playoff, I'm not playing in some bowl game. I'm done. Right? There's nothing smart, and it's ironic. You're talking about intercollegiate athletics. You're talking about universities across the educational embodiment, higher education of young people throughout these United States of America. And yet there is zero intelligence involving the execution of current big time and not even so big time college athletics. None. It's turned into the stupidest thing from what is potentially the highest level of learning in this country. Go figure. Tomorrow's the Hump Day Wednesday edition. Keon Brown, Damian Sordelette. Try to run down David Teal and maybe some other things happening tomorrow. Thanks again to all of our sponsors, the NRB Super Bowl, Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel, Family Fencing, McClellan Chiropractic, Professional Door Incorporated. Thanks to Louise Baker. Thanks to Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment, presenting sponsor of this program, Little River Heating and Air, the attorney Ryan Pry with our fan question of the week. National Bank member FDIC, Professional Door Incorporated, the Ready Set Fund, and Sundown Electric. And thanks to you, good conversation today, good takes as we get closer and closer now to the middle of the week. And we'll find out. We'll find out what else comes down. We'll try to have get more reaction tomorrow from Damian. Damian will answer your questions as well, anything that he's hearing about the roster and everything, getting ready for the spring game on Saturday. All right, everybody, please subscribe, like, and share the channel. Liking and clicking the little subscribe button is important. Thanks for everything. Good stuff. Thanks to Marva. She was outstanding. Thanks to Brian Siegler. Morris warning us now, and thanks to Mike Burnham, warning us now that the opening tomorrow will not be nice. That's okay, Morris. We can handle it. We can handle it. We're ready. We're ready. April 15th. We can handle it. Everybody take care. Thanks again for everything. Great to hang out with you. We'll see you tomorrow.